Imagine waking up every morning in a world without walls. No bedroom, no locked doors, no private bathroom, no do not disturb sign. Instead, you share a cave with 30 other people. Children are laughing, someone is sharpening a stone tool, an elder is telling stories beside a dying fire. Everyone can see everyone else. Sounds exhausting, doesn't it? But here's the surprising part. For over 95% of human history, this wasn't unusual. It was normal. Our ancestors managed to create privacy without building walls. Today, we'll explore one of the most overlooked mysteries of prehistoric life: how early humans created psychological boundaries in a world where physical privacy barely existed. We'll discover why caves weren't as crowded as Hollywood makes them seem, how body language became humanity's first closed door, and why your need for personal space is millions of years older than civilization itself. When we picture prehistoric humans, we often imagine entire tribes living permanently inside dark caves. But archaeology tells a different story. Most prehistoric humans were nomadic hunter-gatherers. Caves were temporary shelters, seasonal homes, or places for important rituals, not permanent residences. Even when groups occupied caves, they didn't simply sleep wherever there was room. Archaeological evidence shows that they organized living spaces carefully. Certain areas were dedicated to cooking, others were used for making tools. Some places became sleeping areas, and a few sections, often deep inside caves, were reserved for rituals or artwork. Even without walls, people instinctively divided space into social zones. This simple organization suggests something fascinating. Humans weren't just surviving. They were already thinking about territory, boundaries, and belonging. Have you ever felt uncomfortable when a stranger stands too close in an elevator? That feeling isn't modern. Psychologists call it personal space, an invisible bubble surrounding every person. Today, cultures define this bubble differently, but the instinct itself appears to be ancient. Researchers believe our ancestors evolved this invisible boundary long before cities or even agriculture. Standing too close could signal aggression. Keeping an appropriate distance reduced conflict. It allowed cooperation without constant tension. In other words, personal space became a survival tool. Interestingly, even chimpanzees, bonobos, wolves, and many birds maintain preferred social distances. Humans inherited this instinct, but refined it into something far more complex. Here's the biggest misconception. Privacy doesn't require walls, it requires understanding. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer societies have found something remarkable. Many communities respect moments of silence. They avoid unnecessary eye contact during private activities and recognize unspoken signals that mean "leave me alone." No fences, no doors, just shared social rules. Our prehistoric ancestors likely relied on similar behaviors. Privacy became a social agreement instead of a physical structure. If someone walked away from the group to sit quietly near a river, others understood. If two people spoke softly away from the campfire, others didn't interrupt. Privacy became a social agreement instead of a physical structure. Ironically, modern technology has given us more walls than ever before, but often less genuine privacy. Why caves felt bigger than they look? When tourists visit prehistoric caves today, they often imagine dozens of people squeezed into tiny spaces. But reality was probably much different. Population densities during the Ice Age were incredibly low. Entire regions that now contain millions of people may have supported only a few hundred humans. A hunting group might consist of just 20 to 40 individuals. Many caves had multiple chambers. Some people slept near entrances. Others preferred deeper, quieter sections. Outdoor camps were often used whenever weather allowed. The cave wasn't a crowded apartment. It was more like a flexible base camp surrounded by an enormous wilderness. In many ways, prehistoric humans had more physical space than most modern city dwellers. Living closely together could easily create stress. So how did early humans avoid constant conflict? Anthropologists believe cooperation became one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Sharing food strengthened trust. Storytelling reinforced social bonds. Rituals reduced tensions. Humor probably helped too. But another important skill emerged: reading emotions. Without written language or legal systems, prehistoric people depended on facial expressions, posture, tone of voice, and subtle gestures. Understanding when someone wanted company and when they wanted solitude became essential for group survival. In other words, emotional intelligence may have evolved alongside stone tools. One object transformed prehistoric social life more than almost anything else: fire. During the day, people spread out to hunt, gather plants, or explore, but at night, everyone returned to the warmth of the fire. The campfire became humanity's first living room. Stories were shared, knowledge passed between generations. Children learned survival skills, couples formed relationships, conflicts were resolved. Yet even around the fire, invisible boundaries remained. Not everyone sat wherever they wanted. Status, age, family relationships, and social customs probably influenced seating positions. Around 12,000 years ago, agriculture changed everything. Permanent villages appeared, and privacy became architectural. Even inside houses, people still respected invisible boundaries. The walls changed. The psychology stayed the same. Maybe true privacy has never been about architecture. Maybe it's about understanding, respecting someone's silence, recognizing emotional boundaries, giving others space, even when no walls separate us. For hundreds of thousands of years, your ancestors had no doors to close. Instead, they built invisible ones. Perhaps the real story of prehistoric life isn't that people lived without privacy. It's that they discovered privacy long before they invented walls. If you enjoyed exploring humanity's hidden past, don't forget to subscribe and join us for the next journey into the mysteries of our ancient world. Because sometimes, the oldest questions reveal the most modern truths.